My name is Bree. I am a domestic violence survivor. I am posting this video because I really feel like it's important to get my story out there. It's not the easiest thing for me to talk about, but I feel that it's really important. My husband says that the reason I'm still alive after everything I've gone through in my life is because I'm supposed to help somebody. I met this man. I used to go to a 16 and over club when I was a teenager. I met this man through a friend of mine. It was his older brother. I felt I didn't understand at the time, but now I look back and he was grooming me. He eventually started showing up at my apartment, and he took a friend of mine around to different strip clubs to show us how much money we could make. I wasn't getting along with my mom at the time. I was trying to figure out a way to make money and move out. Now that I look back, my mom did the best she could. The only problem I had was that I had a hard time talking to her about anything. So when anything happened to me, I just didn't say anything. I just dealt with it. I wish I would have said something. She said to me the other day that she's sorry she wasn't there for me. She didn't intend to not be there for me. She was just probably uncomfortable. Anyway, when I turned 18, I decided that I did want to be a stripper, a dancer. I began waitressing at a club, did an amateur contest, and ended up winning the contest and became a dancer the next day after getting my entertainer's license. Not even 6 months later, he showed up at the club. I became friends with him. I ended up being a roommate, and within 6 months of me living there, he came into my room and raped me. I got pregnant, and I've always thought of my kids as a pleasant surprise. The way that I got them was unfortunate, but kids are never a mistake. Everything happens for a reason. I struggled being a mother, being a single mother. I didn't make the best choices. I had many mental health issues. I am bipolar. I have traumatic brain injury, and my head injuries are so bad that I get migraines. I have loose bone fragments floating around from being beaten with a baseball bat from head to toe. It's just really, it was a really, really unfortunate situation. My self-esteem was shot, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that when I was 13, there was a popular boy in school, and I was walking down the street past his house, and his brother and him pulled me into the house and raped me. I was a virgin and the biggest hoe in the school, apparently, because they told everybody what happened. Everybody. And I was bullied really bad, and I hated going to school, so I decided to switch. Well, it turns out that those people from that school knew people from the school I was at, and so the same thing happened. I went to a party, I had too much to drink, and I was raped. Now just to let everybody know, that's no excuse for rape, no matter how somebody is dressed, no matter whether they've been drinking or not. When you drink, your inhibitions you lose your inhibitions. Anyway, I can't speak right now apparently, but it was a really unfortunate situation. So anyway, I ended up being with him 7 years. There was a lot of mental abuse going on. I didn't realize it at the time, but there was. I was terrified of him. I had gone on vacation with a couple friends of mine. We had a really fun vacation. I don't know if I think he was jealous about that or not, but I was coaching cheerleading for Little League. And when I was doing that, I got to know a lot of the parents. Eventually, after I got back from this vacation, a couple of parents that I become friends with, I told them about the vacation. It was at Catalina Island, and I had a lot of fun. It was wonderful. It was an escape for me from the normal everyday negativity. He found out about it and just freaked. telling me that nobody needs to know our business, this and that. Well, it wasn't his business. It was my business. And so I had every right to tell people if I chose to. He didn't go on this vacation with me. And he ended up kicking an ashtray, and it hit my lip. I still have a lump on my lip right here till this day. It's hard to see, but... And then he kicked me in the face. I had bruises on both eyes, and I had a fat lip. He didn't want anybody to see me, so he locked me in a room, and I had to have been in there, 2 to maybe 3 weeks. I was in there for quite a while. During that time, he literally went psycho. I was beaten with a baseball bat repeatedly, many times. He would go through periods where I'm sorry, and then he'd do it again. It was to the point where for one day I was temporarily paralyzed. I couldn't move. My body was in shock. After that, he stepped on my neck, and I literally passed out, and he kicked me to get me up. I, at one point, was tied to a bed. This is why I can't have a 4-poster bed. He tied me to the bed, and he took the baseball bat and went down on my stomach really, really hard. And that happened repeatedly. My ribs were crushed. My liver had been torn. My liver's fine now because I don't drink or anything, and I don't do drugs. My teeth, my bottom teeth are fine. It's the top teeth that I have problems with. I didn't have my first cavity until I was 30. I had perfect teeth up until I hit 40. Eventually, I'll show you guys pictures of him and how I used to look. And once I hit 40, I started losing my top teeth. And granted, I should have taken care of them a lot better, but a lot of the reason my teeth are the way they are is because my skull was so damaged that eventually they came out. I just have had so many problems throughout my life because of this. When I finally got out of the room, so I ended up with 8 broken bones and a torn liver, and both my wrists were broken. My one wrist is still broken. It's being held together by scar tissue because they would have had to re-break it. And I have full use of them, so I'm not worried. They do hurt when it's really cold, but ibuprofen helps. But I still deal with a lot from it. My head injuries were horrible. I have more head injuries than a football player. This was a 315-pound ex-football player not holding back. At one point, when he hit me with the bat, I was thrown across the room. It was a bathroom that was as big as a living room. And it was pretty cheap to live in Las Vegas at the time. You could have a nice place for pretty cheap. And I remember hitting the wall on the other side of the bathtub. All my bruises were from all just across here, and then on my head. I had more bruises than spots on my body that didn't have bruises. The way I got away is that he had to produce me at this football game. Parents were wondering where I was. I knew my son was at a friend's house, so I knew he was safe. Hopefully, he didn't see any of it. I don't think he did. But at halftime, I ran to a teacher's lounge where I knew I'd be safe. The teachers there helped me. It was like a movie. Every door that I went to was locked except for the cafeteria door. And that door, there happened to be band practice. And the teachers there, they had me go in the teacher's lounge. They locked me in there, what we called the police. They initially could only hold them for 12 hours. But in the meantime, they put me in a hospital. I was yellow jaundice. I probably wouldn't have lived to the next day. And I could barely move. They had me under an assumed name at the hospital. Then they put me in a safe nest with my son. And before he could even go to prison, we had to do a custody trial. So they put me in a room alone with him. The first thing I said to him, I would wish what you did to me on my worst enemy. Not even you. And I don't know. In my head, I might have wished, but I don't know. I said, not even you. And it was just an extremely unfortunate situation. It took a while for me to finally get back to Seattle. We had to do a lot of court stuff. And he didn't actually go to prison until 2001. I had came back home and I had to go back to Vegas every time it went to trial. He initially got 40 years without parole. And he ended up appealing, so he got out early. He would try to make fake Facebook accounts, this, trying to get a hold of me, but I never fell for it. And other than that, I don't think he ever came after, tried to get to me or anything. I think he knew that I was done. Having it happen in Las Vegas, I don't agree with their police department there. I think it sucks, but their victim witness program is really, really amazing. I don't know what I would have done with two women in particular, Maxine Lance and She's Way Hill. I need to give them a shout out because they were phenomenal to me. Even so many years later. It's unfortunate that not everybody gets the same support that I had. I now still deal with a lot of depression. I'm bipolar. I have traumatic brain injury, major depressive and major anxiety disorder, and OCD. My OCD is not extreme, but it's there. I think everybody has a little bit. I'm finally on the proper medications. It took me years and years and years to get on the right medications. In being an inpatient many times in a mental facility, I just feel like it's so important to tell my story, and I feel like it's hard to hear things from anybody else that hasn't been through it. The best therapy is talking to somebody who's actually been through domestic violence. This is so important. So anyway, throughout these videos, I'm going to be posting a few more videos. I'm going to be posting my story in a few different parts because there's a lot more to it than what I actually said right now because I don't have a lot of time. But I will be posting more videos. Eventually, I'd like to interview other survivors so I can get more of that story out there, and eventually writing a book. And hopefully, I can get other survivors to contribute to it. I'd like to do like a compilation of different stories of survivors, male and female, because it happens to men too. Domestic violence awareness and mental health awareness are so important because everybody goes through something. So goodbye for now. And I will be posting a lot more later. Sorry about the choppy video. This is my first one. I've never done this before. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.